efforts of your state in the uncertain time due to COVID-19. To follow state mandates, please practice social distancing and wear masks if closer than 6 feet. Thank you for your cooperation with our County Health Department and our Senior Fair Board. I would like to take a minute to introduce our judge before getting started. The judge's name is Curtis Payton from Sprague, Pennsylvania. He operates a cow and calf operation with his family. He obtained a bachelor's degree from West Virginia University in animal science and is currently working on a master's degree in psychology at WVU. While at West Virginia University, was on the livestock judging team and a member of Black and Bridle. Please join us in welcoming Curtis Payton for our judge today. In a few moments, we will begin the show.
Read the type of class, weighing under 450, and just say the names.
Dairy beef weighing under 450, Kelly Ewing, Austin Johnson, Maya Fograsher, Nicole Deckard, Addison Blazer.
here. I'd like to, thanks for having me down again this year and everything. And it's just pretty nice to get out for a little bit and do something other than listen to the news. But no, I think a really nice place to start here. Maybe not the biggest framed one in here, but I think one that just proportions out really well and reads really good in its structure. You get behind that one. He's the widest pinned calf in this class, and I think consequently puts on the most shape and dimension whenever you view him for behind. The one coming here in second, biggest framed, biggest boned. I think he reads a little bit straight in his angles. I'd like to give him a little bit more set to his knee, and as you get him out on the move, he wants to drop his head. Maybe try to work his head up a little bit whenever you get him out on the go. And that might help him, but still, I do think he is just a little bit more straight there in the set to his knee, but still one that's just a little bit more rugged for this class, and I like that. But a really nice second place. And then the third place here, one that I was kind of bouncing back and forth between second and third there. I think one that just kind of gets outpowered by the two above him. Still one that balances up really nice and is really good on the move, but one I think just needs a little bit more power when you get in behind them, like our first and second place. And then we get down to our two lighter calves here in the class, and I think ones that that have plenty enough shape and are good off their front ends, but ones that I just kind of like to relax there in their top lines as you get them out on the move. They want to start arching up. You can see them both there right now, wanting to do it ever so slightly, but ones that just need to be set into their shoulder a little bit better when we start talking about their head and necks, but still really nice class. Congratulations.
You're making me announce. Yeah, that's right. In fifth place, we have Kelly Ewing. In fourth place, we have Austin Johnson. In third place, we have Nicole Deckard. In second place, we have Maya Fogasser. In first place, we have Addison Blazer. Vaughn Herring, Lane Farmer, Caitlin Ray Runzo, Jessica Walton, Daniel Levernite, Josie Pitts, Izzy Blazer.
really nice class here, and there's a lot of similarities between the top three animals here. We're going to go ahead and start off with the young ladies. I think just from a balance standpoint, that one does it for you when you get behind it and when you get off from the side of it. You know, it's the squarest in his hip. He carries the most shape down through the lower portion of his stifle, and I just like how this one gets out and moves. You know, really, really proportional from the side, and packs on plenty enough volume of muscle whenever viewed from behind. Young ladies here in second, I think, does just the same. A little bit longer in its muscle pattern and maybe just a little bit rounder over the sides of its hip, but still one that I think does a really, really nice job. Maybe not as clean up through his throat, but still one that gets out in proportions really, really well whenever you get off from the side. The young ladies there in third, you know, one that is a little bit cleaner through his throat, but just doesn't quite have that volume of muscle and natural width from stifle to stifle and quite at the ground. But still, I think a really nice place to get there in the top part of the class. The young lady there in fourth, a little bit bigger framed one that sits down on just a slightly bigger foot with a longer muscle pattern, but he just doesn't quite have the width. I'd like to stouten him up at the ground, pull him apart, and give him some more natural base width and carry that all the way up high. And then we're around then the young man here in the orange shirt, I think one that, you know, just kind of follows in the same suit, even a little bit more, a little bit closer built there at the point of his shoulder. He needs to be widened there in that part, give him some more natural base width as well, and that would make him carry some more shape up high and there through his lower leg. And then we'll go ahead and follow up with this young man's calf. I do like its moderate build, coming from a beef standpoint, but still one that I think this gets outperformed in this particular class. And then we'll round out with the red and white one. I think one is just kind of comes in as the most refined in the class for foot and bone work. It just needs some more shape and overall as it tapers in its muscle pattern, but still a really nice class. Congratulations.
No, I just don't have to announce that. In fifth place, we have Daniel Levernight. In fourth place, we have Jessica Walton. In third place, we have Lane Farmer. In second place, we have Izzy Blazer. And in first place, we have Josie Pitts.
I think the boys over here, to be honest with you, are just standing out there watching. I don't know what his number is.
Sipko. Thank you. Sipko, Lise Schreckengoss, Trenton Wolfgang, Trent Elson, Levi Coopersmith, Holden Striefler, Ruby Marshall, and Caitlin Black.
think we have three really nice animals, maybe 4 and 5 too, up here in the top end of the class, and I just wanted to go ahead and get them in the right spots there. But the young man's going to go ahead and win. I think that one, just from a muscularity standpoint, has the most to offer up high and down low. I think he reads true in his structure. He lays really, really nice into his shoulder and carries himself around really well. Can maybe stand just to be a little bit leveler out of his hip, but that's just getting really critical on that one. I just think whenever you get in behind him, he has just more genuine shape comparatively than the rest of the class. And then originally I had this one third, and as I got a better look at him, I went ahead and flopped him there real quick. I think that one just matches up a lot more closely in type and kind. A little bit bigger frame like our class winner. I think has a lot of genuine shape when you get in behind it. I wish it did carry just a little bit more up high there back through its loin and from that standpoint, but still one that I think really carries itself well and I think should feed out very nicely. The young man's red and white one, a little bit more moderate in his frame size, carrying a little bit more condition, should finish relatively easy for the young man, and I think one that just has plenty of shape. I just like to give him just a little bit more grow, a little bit more performance like our first two and the class there, but still a really nice place for third. And then the young man coming in fourth, I think another one, bigger framed, good in the structure, just kind of tapers in its muscle pattern as you get behind them. And I think we just kind of proceed with that down the class more and more progressively, but still a really nice class to go ahead and start off with. Congratulations.
In fifth place, we have Caitlin Black. In fourth place, we have Levi Coppersmith. In third place, we have Ruby Marshall. In second place, we have Trent Elson. In first place, we have Lance Skretchengoss. Levi Coppersmith got fourth. Trent Elson got third. Ruby Marshall got second. And first place, Lance Schrecken.
You're fine.
Dallas McCracken, Cole Elson, Logan Wood, Brennan Wallace, Jared Rose, Snow. Sanja Levernight, Hannah Townsend. Yeah, just don't listen to me.
I'm sitting there like, second. I got her first. Second.
Oh, well. That's okay.
Great job for it.
Just for everyone here in the audience with the parents with the younger kids, we didn't get to have, due to the COVID, we didn't have our showmanship clinic in the summertime. So hopefully people won't let this not let them come back or want them to come back, because we like to work with them and make sure they do showmanship well. So anyhow.
affect his head and neck. He just got a heavy noggin, and I think he's a little tired. But still, I think one that's built really, really good, and I think will feed out well. He's kind of rugged. He's not real sleek design like we've seen today, but still one that I think has a lot of feedability to him. And then coming out next there is another really a little bit bigger framed, but still really square hipped and wide pinned, and he carries that natural width all the way to the ground. I really like how that one proportions out and handles itself out on the move. I think really nice one there to follow our class winner. And I think the young man coming out in third, very, very similar between second and third. I was real close there, even between our these top, these next four calves here. I think, pretty close call between all of them. But I just think, that one just follows suit the best in terms of pin width and natural base width. Same going for this fella. And then as we get here, these two calves, a little bit more modern in their type and kind, but still full and wide from stifle to stifle. They carry a lot of shape there. I just like to give them a little bit more grow. And a little bit more shape there through the center portion of their hindquarters. And then the two calves that round out the class, they just kind of get outpowered in terms of base width and pin width. I think they want to taper in their muscle pattern ever so slightly, but still a really nice class. Congratulations.
Thank you. In fifth place, we have Dallas McCracken. In fourth place, we have Cole Elson. In third place, we have Jared Rose. In second place, we have Logan Wood. And in first place, we have Brennan Wallace. Jacob Reedshaw, Paul Welsh Jr., Grant Irwin, Alex Coppersmith, Jacob Hoppel, Reese Berger, and Madison Milhorn.
Well, I think a really nice pair of calves up here in the top end of the class, and I think they're both really, really similar. It's just little things in between them. I think they're both really good built. I think they're good in their angles. When you study them up through their shoulder and out of their hips, they both, both pretty wide at the ground. I think they handle each other really, really well. I think where this one's just going to get it just a little bit longer, a little bit leveler out of its hip, and I kind of just like the way it ties up out of its shoulder ever so slightly, that much more. The young man's, a little bit deeper through his chest, doesn't quite tie as nice there out of his shoulder up into his head and neck, but still one that's really square built out of his hip. I think has a lot of shape down low and is really wide from stifle to stifle. I think those two pair up really, really nicely. The young man's coming out in third. One that's really, really square, wide pinned. I just think he gives up there a little bit as you study him down low there through the bottom portion of his hip. I'd like to see him span with some more width there and carry some more up high. In the same way with the young man following behind him. The red and white calf that we go ahead and follow with that one. Really good in his build. I like his frame size, but this one that just kind of tapers in his muscle pattern and gets outpowered by the ones above him. And then as we get to the last two calves, I think two that are another really close pair, but still ones that just kind of, like I said, taper in their muscle pattern, don't have as much to offer in terms of natural baits width down low and up high. I just think they need to carry some more there and carry some more genuine shape, but still really good class of steers here.
Make sure that's off.
Oh, I'm all right.
In fifth place, we have Alex Coppersmith. In fourth place, we have Jacob Hoppel. In third place, we have Reese Berger. In second place, we have Jacob Reedshaw. And in first place, we have Madison Milhorn.
Should be writing this down. It is. This gives me
Maverick Lacey, Henry Pitts, Marin Striefler, Chloe Townsend, Maddox French, Maisie French, Olivia Hipley, and Case Sainer.
think another really nice class here, and they definitely deserve a round of applause. I think the young ladies we're going to go ahead and start out with, I think this is kind of the combination steer of the class. I think one that has some added growth to it, just a little bit added frame, but I still think one that proportions out really well and handles himself relatively well at the ground. You get behind him, he's plenty stout enough, plenty square enough, and I like him from that standpoint. The young man's coming out there in second, one that's been a little bit stubborn for him, not wanting to cooperate, but still one I think he's kind of moderate in his build and easy fleshing, and I like that again from coming from a beef cattle standpoint on my end. But I still think one that's going to feed out relatively easy and has plenty enough shape if he would just decide to get his mind in the game there. But coming out next is one that I kind of jumbled around into a few different spots. I think this one is squaring this hip, widen his pin set. I just wish he had a little bit more to offer whenever you start studying him down low. He needs to pull apart there and pack on some more pounds there through his lower stifle. I'd like to pull him apart there behind his shoulders and give him some more shape there. But still, I think one that balances out really, really good there from the side, and I think definitely deserves to get up there in the top 3 of this class. The young man's coming next. Again, is just one that kind of tapers in his muscle pattern as you start studying him down low, but still one that's good in the spine, good out in the move. And I think that's key and critical whenever we start talking structure in these animals. And they're all pretty good down the line there. These next 3, I think, they're all, just ones that kind of just fit the mold together. They're all, and it's just little things in between them when we start talking about natural baits with. I think this one of the next 3 in the group, just kind of pulls himself apart the most at the ground. But with that said, and then we round out the class 1 that really just needs to level up from hooks to pins there. Wants to round out his hip and start tucking himself underneath of him as he gets out on the go, but still a really nice class of steers. Congratulations.
Okay. In 5th place, we have Marin Striefler. In 4th place, we have Maddox French. In 3rd place, we have Olivia Hitt. In 2nd place, we have Maverick Lacey. In 1st place, we have Maisie French. Loudon Striefler, Zach Blake, Logan Cooper, Levi Blake, Grace Hall, Kennedy Berger, Mila French, and Lexi Townsend.
and use the young man's up front there to win. I think that one just balances out really nice. I think he's very proportional. He reads really good in his angles, and he's had some of the most base width that we've seen at the ground today. Not only does he have a long muscle pattern, but it's full. He's wide from stifle to stifle, and I just like how that one puts himself together. I think the young man follows really closely to him. Maybe one that's just not quite as massive in his overall shape and design, but still one that carries a lot of shape and width down the top of his spine. I think he packs on plenty of shape when you get in behind him. He's square, he's full, and then he gets around relatively well. Maybe not. Doesn't quite have the wow factor like we see in our class winner, but still a really nice one that balances up and is put together well. The young lady's coming out there in second. One that's really square in its hip shape and wide in its pin set. But then after you get away from that, he just kind of plainer in my overall design that I see him. A little bit just taller made, and I just like he needs to be pulled apart there. He needs to give more shape. But still one that you have to appreciate for how nice and square he is and his natural pin width, but still a really nice one there. The next one coming out, I think, is another one, that's square in its build, and another one that just gets kind of plain. I'd like to level him up out of his hip. He wants to drop ever so slightly when he gets out on the move. It's getting pretty critical on that one, and I think he just reads just a little bit off in his angles. I think he's just a little bit straighter to his shoulder too, so we want to fix that off both ends. The next two coming out, I think this one, I was looking at this one pretty hard, but he just needs to be balanced up. He just gets a little bit steeper in his hip actually than I like him. He just wants to get up out of his shoulder a little too much for me. I think that one just needs balanced up from a standpoint. I like his pieces that he's trying to work into his body. But he's just not quite tying him in that well. He's just a little piecey. And then the remainder of the calves walking out of the class, ones that just kind of taper in their muscle pattern. We need to widen them up at the ground and give them some more shape and design, but still a really nice class. Congratulations.
In fifth place, we have Grace Hall. Fourth place, Mila French. Third place, Lexi Townsend. Second place, Zach Blake. And first place, we have Levi Blake. Malin French, Hayden Patrone, Bryce Wood, Bodney Southern, Bodney Southern, Allison Lacey, and Caitlin Bondoni.
Okay, well, pretty challenging up here in the top three, and I think you get somebody else in here, and either one of them could start, either one of them could be second, or either one of them could be third. But I just kind of have a type and kind that I'm going to follow with, and I think the young man's definitely got it here. I think one that's big-footed, big-boned, square-hipped, and just has the volume of muscle in this class. You get in behind him, he's really, really full there through his lower stifle, and just has the most natural width and the most natural power. I think it's a really nice place to start. And then the young lady there in front of him, I think, just a little bit smaller version, a little bit more moderate in the top three there. But I think one is still really good and square built at the ground. I think one, all the feet are pointing straight. I think one, that handles himself really, really well, and again has that volume of muscle, but just doesn't quite have the performance and the overall growing size to get up there and win the class. Right here was my problem one. I didn't know, they kind of battled it out between second and third. I think that one just kind of fits more the type and kind that we start the class with, but one that just kind of gives up just a little bit of power whenever you get in behind them down low, and was looking for that total volume of muscle. I think one that balances up really, really well in its skeleton, but just kind of sacrifices a little bit of shape and a little bit of feedability from that standpoint. We're going to go ahead and follow out with my young man here. He's done a good job being tough with that one. He's just being stubborn, and you have that showing livestock. But another one that I think balances up really, really well, just gives up some natural shape, and you lost your ribbon there. But it just gives up a little bit of shape whenever you get in behind them, and I really like to go ahead and spread them apart whenever you get on top of them. And the same goes with these two calves here. I think they follow very, very closely in type and kind. The young man rounds out the class, probably the biggest framed one there in the class, but you get in behind him, and he's just more two-dimensional. We need to give him some overall volume of muscle and some more shape, but still another really nice class. Congratulations.
In fifth place, we have Caitlin Bondoni. In fourth place, we have Bryce Wood. In third place, we have Malin French. Second place, Allison Lacey. In first place, Hayden Patron.
That? Ruby. And hoops.
Yeah, but
Ruby's not a ruby.
it's Ruby. Is it just Ruby?
It's just
Lauren Hipley, Colton Southern, Cameron Bondoni, Natalie Essick, Jared Hahn, Abigail Ruby, Matthew Hoops.
think another really nice class here. As I understand, this is our last class of the show today before we select our champion reserve, and I think the young lady is a really nice one. You know, balances out really well. He's good in his angles and balances out really good there from the side. You get behind him, he's big, he's stout pinned, he's square built, and tons of volume and muscle. I really like that one for how he puts himself together, and I think the young man's follows there really closely in type and kind. Just doesn't quite have, he is not quite as square whenever you get behind him. Wants to round over the edge of his hip ever so slightly, and just doesn't quite have the total volume up high whenever you get him behind him and study him down his top. But still, really nice pair of steers there. The young lady's coming out in third. We start getting into some bigger framed animals there, and I think of the bigger framed ones, he just proportions out and handles the skeleton the best. Whenever you get him behind him, you know, he's longer patterned, but he's still square built and gets around really good. I'd just like to go ahead and give him some more power. You know, go ahead and stouten him up at the ground, and consequently build him up into a stouter pin structure. And then the young man just go ahead and we follow with about the same type and kind, just a little bit more narrower and built. Excuse me. A little bit narrower in his build, and the young man's here, one that gets a little bit rounder out of his hip, still has some shape and design, but one that I think, you know, just kind of we need to lengthen out, spread apart, and do the same thing as the two above him, but with that, go ahead and clean up his head and his neck there, starting to get a little bit more throat than I like to see, but still a really nice one in a hard class here. And then as we get to the two steers here that round out the class, you know, still two that are really good in their frame size and good on their feet and legs. We just need to spread them apart and give them some overall total volume of muscle and some shape and design, but still a really nice pair. Congratulations.
In fifth place, we have Jarrett Hahn. Fourth place, Matthew Hoops. Third place, Abigail Ruby. Second place, Natalie Essick. And first place, Cameron Bondoni.
I did. No, just first place.
First place winner.
Yeah. First place winners entering the ring.
give him a round of applause for waking up this morning, getting out here and facing the facts of the world. I mean, we live in a very uncertain time right now, but one thing that is certain is that agriculture doesn't stop, and this definitely proves that you guys coming out here today, showing and exhibiting your livestock. Back in my county there in Pennsylvania, our county fair got canceled, and a group of us got together and put together a junior livestock show. And it's just, and all we can get is just a one-day thing, and it's just a show up, weigh, show, and sell that night. And it's definitely not the normal thing. Probably like you guys don't have your normal fair here, but at least it's something. And you guys have this is to have a little bit of taste of normality these days is pretty nice, especially just with everything that's going on. But congratulations to you guys for that, and kids, whenever you get out of here, go ahead and thank mom and dad and whoever helped get you here today, and thank whoever put this show on, because it definitely takes a lot to do that. I help run the show through school, and it is countless hours of time of planning and putting everything together, and thank whoever's doing the paperwork, because I hate that part. That's a pain. But I think you guys have done a great job, and for those of you, first year showmen, and if you're out here, you're doing a great job. But if you can get here ringside, a lot of these kids are doing a really, really nice job showing their animals. We tried to work on a few things throughout the day, but I just tried to, if I saw something out of the corner of my eye that I could help fix real quick, I went ahead and did it. And because showmanship is one of my favorite things, especially growing up, exhibiting livestock myself, because it's something you do and not your animal. But with that said, I think there's some great individual pieces of livestock out here, and I think ones that that are complete, proportional, sound, and functional. Just to have all the fundamentals to get out there and do what we need to do, and but with that said, thank you for having me come down a second year here to evaluate your livestock and work with your kids. Everybody's always been so genuine and nice here, and I really enjoy coming here to do this. So with that said, give them one last round of applause, and I'll go out and select the two that I like the best. We'll go ahead and we'll bring the second place back in from the class that wins grand.
Reserve Grand Champion Levi Blake. Will Grant and Reserve please come back in for pictures with the judge?